We need new and expressive, creative ways of demonstrating our opposition to this government's policies. And I believe that we're going to need it even more in the future, because my own assumption is this is not politics as usual. I was not surprised that Bush was reelected, because I don't think he was elected to begin with. I don't think he was elected this last term. I think that democracy died in December of 2000. There was a coup in this country, and the people who are in power in this country are not going to release the power, which means we're going to have to learn to take it from them. And in the Judeo-Christian rhetoric, there is guidance in Scripture about how to resist the emergence of empire. And what we're involved in right now is empire. In biblical terms, for folks, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, look at the narratives of Pharaoh, and look at the narratives of the Babylonian exile, and also look at the narratives of Jesus himself and the apostles themselves as they began to spread Christianity. This was a movement against empire, and it was a movement very much rooted in a countercultural lifestyle. It is what we talked about before, and it's involved in this whole Jubilee movement, that you redistribute wealth, you reduce the centralization of power, you live on a smaller scale, and in our context, certainly we have to learn how to live more in harmony and partnership with the land.
So if Jesus was here today, where do you think he would be placed? Guantanamo Bay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt that if Jesus, as Jesus arises, I mean, it's not if Jesus was around, Jesus is around. Again, for the church, we have examples. Look at the example of what happened with Martin Luther King. Look at the example of what happened to Oscar Romero. Look at how, one of the comments I loved that Dorothy Day made one time is when there was a movement, she helped create the Catholic Worker Movement, which was a ministry of presence with the poor. And she said, don't call me a saint. Don't write me off that easily. Because you can either be marginalized by the state in a violent way, or you can be marginalized by the temple, so to speak, the religious hierarchy, and that is, Dorothy Day is made a saint, and she can do what you can't do. But the reality is, everyone is equipped to live a life of integrity and truth. The whole story of faith is building courage in people and building backbone.
And I think everyone's equipped to support and to be a leader in a resistance movement.
Absolutely. And again, another suppressed, censored story, and this as a pastor maybe speaking to other pastors, is we need to tell the truth about the Scriptures. And the truth about the Scriptures is that they are an anti-imperial conversation that is happening among people of faith. Unfortunately, embedded in our Scriptures, from Genesis to Revelation, there are also other narratives. And those narratives call for the emergence of empire. And I'll give a quick example. When you look in I'll use an Old Testament example, Hebrew Scripture example. When you look at the story of David, the king, there are stories and narratives spread throughout the books of the Hebrew Scriptures that honor him and support him. And it's a great thing that King David came and there was a monarchy and protected us from the Philistines and so forth. But there's another narrative, for example, in 1 Samuel chapter 8, that warns against the emergence of monarchy. Don't go this way. Remain faithful to God will be your king, this God without a body, because if you create a monarchy, what that monarchy will do is it will sell your sons and daughters into slavery. It will abscond with your land. It will produce great sorrows. And but the people didn't listen. The people wanted a king. They wanted to be just like the other nations. The prophetic narrative of Scripture that I think is probably the most underpreached and underlived, the prophetic narrative that I think Jesus embodied, was a narrative that was very anti-monarchy, anti-imperial, anti-empire. It was
anti-ego.
And very